Above the clouds, at the center of the world, there is a mountain made of jade. Its summit is always in starlight. Tonight, you are climbing it, but there is no hurry. There is never any hurry on Kunlun. The mountain has stood since before the first river learned its name. It will stand long after the last lantern in the mortal world has gone out. It is patient in a way that only mountains are patient, and tonight it is patient with you. So settle yourself now, wherever you are. Let your shoulders sink, let your hands rest, open and heavy. Let your breath come slow, the way mist comes down a valley in the evening, unhurried, soft, in no particular direction. You do not need to do anything for this journey. You do not need to remember anything. You do not need to hold on to anything. You do not need to arrive anywhere at any particular time. The mountain will do all the work. You only need to walk and breathe and listen. And if you drift away before we reach the summit, that is good. That is the whole purpose of the mountain tonight. The path will carry you the rest of the way while you sleep. Close your eyes, and the modern world dissolves. It dissolves like sugar in warm water. It dissolves like a reflection when the pond is touched. The rooms and the roads and the noise of your day, they thin and soften and drift apart. What remains is very old and very quiet. It is night in a time before clocks. You are standing at the foot of a mountain path. You are somewhere in the far west of the ancient world. The land rises and rises until it forgets the earth entirely. The air is cool and clean. It smells of stone and pine and distant water. When you breathe in, you can taste the altitude already, that thin, sweet sharpness of air. Air that has never passed through a city. Air that has never held smoke. Air that has never carried a single hurried word. Above you, the mountain climbs into darkness. You cannot see the summit. You are not meant to. Between you and the summit lies the cloud sea, a vast, slow ocean of mist. It circles the middle slopes of Kunlun. It hides everything above it from mortal eyes, but you have been permitted to climb. You can feel it, the way you feel warmth from a fire before you see the flames. The mountain knows you are here. The mountain has agreed. The path before you is made of pale stone. Each step has been worn smooth by centuries of quiet feet, pilgrims, sages, wandering immortals. They came down to walk among the pines, then they returned home above the clouds. The stone holds a faint glow in the darkness. It's as if it remembers moonlight. It keeps a little of it, the way a hearthstone keeps a little of the day's fire. You take your first step. The stone is solid and cool beneath you. It receives your weight without a sound. You take another, and already something in you begins to loosen. Some knot you did not know you were carrying begins, very gently, to untie itself. The path rises at an easy angle. It was built for contemplation, not for haste. It curves along the mountainside in long, patient sweeps. You are never climbing steeply. You are never straining. You are simply walking upward, one soft step at a time, into the night. On either side of the path, ancient pines stand in the darkness. They are enormous, older than kingdoms, older than the words for kingdoms. Their trunks are broad and deeply furrowed. Their bark smells of resin, warm and faintly sweet. Their branches spread above the path like the roofs of quiet temples. Through the gaps between their needles, you can see small pieces of the night sky, scattered like grains of silver rice. The wind moves through the pines. It is the softest sound in the world. A long, low hush, rising and falling, rising and falling. The trees do not creak or groan. They only breathe. They've been breathing this same slow breath for 3,000 years. They will breathe it for 3,000 more. You walk beneath them, and their breath becomes your breath. In and out, slow and deep and easy. Somewhere below you, far down the slope, a stream is running over stones. You cannot see it, you only hear it, a thin silver thread of sound, weaving in and out of the wind, water finding its way downhill in the dark, patiently, without effort, the way water always does. It's a young stream here, but you know, in the quiet way that one knows things in dreams, this water began its journey at the very top of the mountain. It began as a spring at the summit of Kunlun, the source of the Yellow River, the mother of all rivers, rising from the center of the world and flowing down through the clouds to feed the fields of the earth. You're walking upstream, in a sense, walking back toward the beginning of things. The thought is comfortable, restful. Everything on this mountain flows downhill except you. And you're in no hurry at all. Your footsteps find a rhythm. Soft stone, soft stone, soft stone. Your arms swing loosely at your sides. The cool air moves across your face. Each breath of it seems to wash something away. A worry here, a small tiredness there, carried off into the pines and dissolved. The path turns, and the mist begins. At first, it's only a suggestion, a faint softening of the air, a silvering of the darkness ahead. The pines grow dimmer, gentler. Their edges blur like ink on wet paper. The stars between the branches fade, one by one, not going out but simply veiling themselves, the way a lamp is veiled by a paper screen. You've reached the lower shore of the cloud sea. You pause for a moment on the path, and you feel the mist reach you. It touches your face first, cool and impossibly soft, like the breath of someone sleeping. It settles on your hair, on the backs of your hands. It carries a faint scent of rain that has never fallen, of water that has never touched the ground. There's nothing to fear in it. This isn't the fog of lost travelers. This is the hem of heaven's garment, trailing along the middle slopes of the mountain. Mortals below look up and see only weather, but you're inside it now, and inside, it's gentle beyond all description. You walk on, and the cloud sea receives you. The world becomes very simple now. There's the pale stone path. It glows faintly ahead of you. 3 or 4 steps are visible. There's soft gray-silver mist on every side. There's the sound of your footsteps, muffled and close. There's your own breathing, slow and even, nothing else. The wind has quieted. The stream has faded below. Even the pines have drawn back into the whiteness. They appear now as tall, dim shapes, like guardians standing at rest. They watch you pass with ancient, drowsy approval. Step and step and step. The mist thickens and thickens. It's like walking through the inside of a cloud. That's exactly what you're doing. Tiny droplets bead on your eyelashes. The air is cool, but not cold. The mountain doesn't permit true cold on its slopes, not for a permitted guest. It's the coolness of clean sheets, the coolness of a pillow turned over in the night. Your thoughts grow soft at the edges. The trees have grown soft at the edges too. It becomes difficult, in the kindest possible way, to remember what you were thinking about a moment ago. The mist takes each thought as it arises. It wraps it in silver. It carries it gently away. You find that you don't mind. You're glad to let them go. You climb. The climbing is effortless. The path seems to rise to meet your feet. Perhaps the mountain is helping you. Perhaps this high on Kunlun, the ordinary weight of things begins to loosen. The weight of the body, the weight of the day, the weight of being a person in a busy world. All of it grows lighter, step by step. Time loosens too. You couldn't say how long you've been walking in the cloud. It might be minutes, it might be hours. On this mountain, the question has no meaning. There are no bells here, no watchman calling the hour. There's only the path, the mist, the slow rhythm of your steps, the slower rhythm of your breath. In and out, in and out. Somewhere in the whiteness above you, very faint, you begin to sense a change, a lightening, not the light of dawn. Dawn is far away. It belongs to the world below. This is something steadier, cooler, silver rather than gold. Starlight is filtering down. It's filtering down through the thinning cloud. You're nearing the upper surface of the cloud sea. The mist begins to glow. With each step upward, the silver light grows. The whiteness around you brightens, from gray to pearl, from pearl to moonstone. The droplets in the air catch the light. They hold it. You seem to be walking through a slow drift of tiny stars. Each one is small as a grain of dust. Each one is softly shining. The air grows thinner, sweeter, clearer. The mist rises past your shoulders now, rather than over your head, then past your chest. You're wading through it. It's like wading through shallow water. It swirls around you in slow, luminous eddies. It's reluctant to let you go, but it lets you go all the same. A few more steps. The cloud is at your waist, at your knees. It streams away down the slope behind you in long white rivers. It pours back toward the world of mortals. You keep climbing, and then you emerge. Oh, stand still for a moment. Just stand and see. You've risen above the cloud sea. The whole upper world lies open around you. It's more beautiful than anything you've ever imagined. Below you, in every direction, to every horizon, stretches an ocean of cloud. It's white and silver under the stars, utterly silent, utterly calm. Its surface isn't flat. It rolls in long, slow swells, like a sea remembered from a dream. Here and there soft billows rise like islands. Their crests are touched with starlight, but nothing in it moves quickly. The waves of this ocean take an hour to rise, an hour to fall. It's the calmest sea that's ever existed. The mortal world is somewhere beneath it. Every city, every road, every voice, every worry, all of it is down there, under that soft white ocean, hidden and hushed and very far away. From here, it doesn't exist at all. From here there is only the cloud sea, and the mountain, and the sky, and the sky. You tilt your head back, slowly, and look up. There are more stars than you've ever seen, more stars than you knew the sky could hold. Above the cloud sea, the air is so pure, nothing stands between you and the heavens, no dust, no haze, no glow of distant lamps. The stars come all the way down to the white horizon on every side, thousands upon thousands of them, still and clear and unblinking, and across the middle of the sky, from one edge of the world to the other, flows the Silver River, the great bright band that mortals in the West call the Milky Way. Here it's not a faint smudge, here it's a true river, wide and luminous, with currents and shallows and deep bright pools, flowing in perfect silence across the roof of the world. The stars don't twinkle here. They're too close for that, or the air is too still. They simply shine, steadily, patiently, like lanterns hung by careful hands, never allowed to go out. You breathe in the starlight. It seems possible, up here, to breathe it in. And you feel very small and very safe, the way a child feels small and safe in a vast, warm house, knowing that everything in it is ordered, everything is watched over, nothing at all is required of you tonight. Now, at last, you turn and look up the slope. You see the mountain itself. Above the cloud sea, Kunlun is revealed. The slopes rising before you aren't made of ordinary stone. In the starlight, you can see it clearly. The mountain is jade, pale green jade, and white jade, and jade the color of moonlit water. It rises in vast smooth faces and soft terraced shoulders, up and up, toward a summit still hidden behind the folds of the heights. The jade glows. It's a faint glow, gentle as the glow of the path was, but deeper, a light that comes from far inside the stone, as if the mountain had swallowed the moon long ago. It holds it still, letting only a little of its light seep out through the translucent rock. Where the slopes catch the starlight, they shimmer softly, like the surface of a lake at midnight. Where they lie in shadow, they glow from within, green and dim and endlessly calm. Nothing grows on these upper slopes except what chooses to grow. Here and there, in hollows of the jade, stand solitary pines, perfectly shaped, their needles silvered, their postures as composed as calligraphy. They're the pines of the immortals. Each one is 1,000 years old. Each one looks as if it were placed exactly where it stands, by a hand with infinite time and infinite taste. The path continues upward, winding between them, pale against the glowing stone. You begin to climb again, and the mountain hums beneath your feet. It's not a sound exactly. It's something felt through the soles of your feet, through the bones, a deep, slow, immeasurably gentle resonance, like the aftertone of a great bronze bell struck centuries ago. Never quite finished ringing. The jade carries it, the whole mountain carries it. It's the sound of Kunlun being Kunlun, the axis of the world, turning nothing, holding everything, humming its one endless patient note beneath all the noise of creation. You could rest against that hum forever. Your steps fall into rhythm with it. Your heartbeat falls into rhythm with your steps. Everything slows to the mountain's pace now. Your walking, your breathing, your thoughts, all of it settling downward, downward, into that deep and drowsy tone. The air on the upper slopes is cool and utterly still. No wind reaches this height, or if it does, it arrives so tamed, so gentled, that it's barely the memory of wind, a faint stirring against your cheek, no more, like the air moved by a folding fan in a distant room. It never rains here. It never storms. The clouds can't climb this high. You've seen for yourself where they end. Kunlun knows nothing of weather. It stood in this same still starlight since the beginning. The stillness has soaked into the stone the way warmth soaks into a hearth. Now the stillness radiates back out of the mountain and into you. You breathe it in. You carry it with you, upward. The path curves around a great shoulder of white jade. Ahead, for the first time, you see light that was made by hands, 2 lanterns. They hang high above the path, one on either side, glowing a deep, warm red, the red of embers, of festival silk, of the inside of closed eyelids in the sun. The light spills down across the pale stone in 2 soft pools. Between them, spanning the path completely, stands a gate. You walk toward it slowly. It grows before you. The gate of the lower palace of Kunlun is taller than the oldest trees you passed below. Its pillars are single columns of green jade, each one's broader than you could embrace. They're polished so smooth that they hold your reflection as a dim drifting shadow. Its great doors are of red lacquered wood, deep and lustrous, the color of a garnet held before a flame. Across them, in long orderly rows, sit round golden studs, each one polished, each one gleaming softly in the lantern light. Above the doors, the roof of the gatehouse sweeps upward at its corners in long graceful curves. It's tiled in glazed blue-green tiles that shine under the stars like the scales of a sleeping dragon. Small bells hang from the eaves. You can see them, delicate shapes of bronze, but they do not ring. The air is too still. They hang in perfect silence, waiting for a wind that may not come for 100 years, and they're content to wait. And before the gate, one on either side, stand the guardians. They are very tall, very still. At first you take them for statues. They stand with the absolute composure of statues, robed from shoulder to ground in layered silk, one in the deep blue of the midnight sky, one in the pale green of the jade itself. Their sleeves are long and full, and hang without stirring. Their faces are calm, serene, neither young nor old, lit warmly from above by the red lanterns. Each holds a tall staff of dark wood, crowned with a small white stone that glows like a captured star. They're celestial guardians. They've kept this gate since before the mortal world had names for its rivers, and as you come near, walking softly on the pale stone, they turn their heads, slowly, gently, the way a flower turns toward light, and they look at you. There's no challenge in their gaze. There's no question. They know who you are. They have known you were coming since you took your first step at the bottom of the mountain, perhaps since long before that. Their eyes are dark and deep and kind. Looking into them is like looking into a well of still water at night. You see calm, you see depth, you see a faint reflection of stars. The guardian in midnight blue inclines their head to you, a slow, deliberate nod. Welcome, the nod says, without a single word. You're expected. The guardian in jade green turns. Silk whispers faintly. the first whisper of sound you have heard from them, and raises one hand toward the great red doors, and the doors open. They open without being touched. They open in perfect silence. Doors so vast should groan, they should rumble like thunder, but these swing inward as lightly as book covers, as softly as eyelids, and not one sound escapes them. Beyond them lies a long courtyard. It's paved in moon-white stone. Lantern light glows there. Deep shadows of columned halls wait. Everything is quiet. You pause at the threshold for one breath. You look up once more at the two guardians. They're watching you still, with that same unhurried kindness. You bow to them. It feels right to bow. Your body seems to know how, bending slowly and easily from the waist. They bow in return, both together. Their tall forms fold with the grace of pines bending under snow. No words have been spoken. No words are needed. On Kunlun, everything that matters is already understood. You step through the gate of the lower palace. The great red doors drift closed behind you, sealing out even the memory of the world below. You are inside. The courtyard receives you the way a still pond receives a falling leaf. It is wide, wider than it seemed from the threshold, paved entirely in pale stone. Each slab fits to the next so perfectly. The whole floor seems a single unbroken sheet of moonlight. Down its center runs a walkway of darker jade, smooth and cool, leading your feet gently forward, deeper into the palace grounds. On either side of the courtyard rise the halls. They stand in long, calm ranks. Their columns of green and white jade glow softly in the darkness. Their walls of red lacquered wood glow warmly in answer. Their roofs sweep up at the corners, layer upon layer, tiled in that same deep blue-green. Along every eave hang lanterns, round lanterns of oiled silk, dozens of them, hundreds of them. Each one holds a small steady flame. The lanterns sway. There's no wind that you can feel, yet the lanterns sway, very slightly, very slowly, all together. It's as if the palace itself were breathing, as if the whole mountain were a sleeper. These lights rock gently on its breath. Their glow moves across the pale stone in slow, warm ripples. Watching them, you feel your own breathing deepen to match. In, and the light swells. Out, and it softens. In, and out. In, and out. You walk forward along the jade walkway. Your footsteps make almost no sound. The palace is not empty, you can feel that. It's inhabited the way a body is inhabited by sleep. Somewhere in these halls, immortals are resting. Somewhere, celestial officials have set down their brushes and scrolls for the night. Somewhere, far above, at the summit you haven't yet seen, the court of the Jade Emperor keeps its eternal, unhurried order. But at this hour, in this courtyard, everything is at rest. You pass a bronze basin. It's wide as a cartwheel. It stands on clawed feet in the middle of the court. It's filled to the brim with still water. The water holds the stars. You pause beside it and look down. There's the silver river flowing motionless across the surface of the basin. There are 1,000 small white fires. They float without a ripple. The palace collects the sky this way, in basins and pools. Mortal houses collect rain the same way. You breathe in. The air within the walls smells faintly of sandalwood and old silk. It smells of lamp oil and jade, for jade has a scent up here, a clean cold sweetness like snow that's never fallen. Beneath it all is another scent. It's faint and lovely. It drifts from somewhere deeper in the palace grounds. Something like blossoms, something like honey warmed in the sun, peach blossom. The garden is still far away. It's beyond halls and courtyards you haven't yet crossed. But its sweetness reaches even here. It's carried on the breathless air. Something in you turns toward it, the way a compass turns, gently, and holds. Not yet. There's no hurry. First, the halls. At the far end of the courtyard, broad steps of white jade rise upward. A covered gallery waits beyond them. The gallery leads into the first great hall. You climb the steps slowly. Each one is shallow and wide. They were made for processions. Processions never rushed. The jade is cool beneath your feet. It's silken to the touch. At the top, columns rise around you. They're so tall their upper reaches fade into shadow. The roof swallows them. Long banners of silk hang between the columns, deep red, deep blue. Gold thread embroidered them with clouds and cranes. Slow ascending dragons spiral through the design. The banners hang perfectly still. The embroidered cranes stand on one leg. They rest among embroidered clouds. Their heads are tucked. They're sleeping in thread, just as their living cousins sleep in the marshes far below. You pass between the columns. You enter the hall. The quiet deepens around you, like water deepening beneath a swimmer. The hall is vast and dim and warm. Its floor is dark polished wood. It gleams faintly where lantern light touches it. The columns reflect there, like trees standing at the edge of a midnight lake. High above, the ceiling is coffered in red and gold. Each square is painted, a peony or a cloud or a small gold star, thousands of them. An entire ordered heaven of ornament rests overhead, like a canopy over a bed. It's warm here, not the warmth of fire. There are no fires. The warmth comes from the jade itself. It rises from the walls. It rises from the columns. A mild, even warmth, body deep. Like stones that have held the sun, the mountain warms its own halls from within. No one is ever cold on Kunlun. No one has ever been cold here. In all the long history of the world, you feel the warmth settle over your shoulders like a robe. You walk the length of the hall slowly. Column after column passes. Each column is a marvel you could study for an hour. Here, one carved with a spiraling dragon. Its scales are rendered so finely, they seem to stir. The lantern light sways. The dragon's eyes are closed. Even the carved dragons of Kunlun are asleep. They dream their carved dreams. They're coiled around their pillars. Nothing in this hall would ever think to wake them. You let your fingertips rest against the column as you pass. The wood is warm. The scales are smooth beneath your hand. Each one is a small polished curve. You can feel the years in them. Patient centuries of craftsmen worked without haste. Here there is no haste. Here there has never been haste. The next column bears a phoenix. Wings folded, long tail feathers spiral down toward the floor. They're ribbons of carved flame. They give no heat. They give no light. Its head is bowed. It too is resting. Everything in this hall is resting. The hall itself seems to breathe around you, slow and deep. A sleeping animal breathes this way. You breathe with it, in and out. Further on, a column carved with a great tortoise. Its shells a map of stars. Each constellation's picked out in flecks of gold leaf. The tortoise carries the heavens on its back, without effort, without strain. It's the way the night carries the moon. Its ancient eyes are closed. Its carved feet are planted in carved waves. They haven't moved in 10,000 years. And beyond it, columns of cranes, columns of clouds, columns of pine trees bent by winds. Those winds stopped blowing before the first empire rose in the world below. You walk among them as through a forest of patient stories. The dark floor holds your reflection softly, a pale figure moving through a lake of lamplight. You're unhurried. You're at peace. At the far end of the hall stand two doors of bronze. They're taller than any doors you've ever seen. Green gold with age, worked all over with ring upon ring of clouds. And they stand open. They've always stood open. There's nothing in this palace that is closed to you tonight. Every hall, every gallery, every garden waits with its doors wide, patient as the mountain itself. You pass between the bronze doors. The quiet deepens again. Beyond the doors lies a corridor of lanterns. It stretches away before you, long and straight and dim. Its ceilings low and beamed in dark red wood. Down its whole length hang lanterns of white silk, one after another, small moons strung on a thread of shadow. but no flame burns inside them. You look closely at the nearest one. You see that its light comes from a single pearl. It rests in a little cradle of silver at the lantern's heart. The pearl glows from within, softly, steadily. It's the way the moon glows. Its light through the white silk is the gentlest light there is, the light of snowfall, the light of sleep. The lanterns of Kunlun are lit with moonlight. It was gathered long ago and never spent. They cannot flicker, they cannot gutter, they cannot burn low. They simply shine, mild and even, for as long as the mountain stands. The mountain has stood since before the counting of years. You walk beneath them. One soft moon after another passes slowly overhead. Your shadow on the floor is faint and doubled and kind. The corridor is warm. The jade warmth rises through the floor. It moves into the soles of your feet. The pearl light rests on your shoulders, and somewhere far ahead, so faint you're not sure at first that you hear it, there is music, a single note, long, low, round, then silence, then another note. Someone, somewhere in the deep of the palace, is playing a kin. It's the long silk-stringed instrument of scholars and immortals. They're playing it the way it's meant to be played on a night like this. One note at a time, whole breaths of quiet between them. Each tone's left alone to bloom and fade. It's like a ripple crossing still water. You do not quicken your step. The music's not calling you. It's simply there. It's the way the scent of peach blossom is there. It's the way the warmth is there. It's part of the night. The night has room for all of it. The night has room for you. Note, silence, note. Your breathing settles into the spaces between the sounds. The corridor opens, at last, into a hall of bells. They hang in great wooden frames, rank upon rank of them. Bronze bells green with beautiful age, the smallest no bigger than a plum, the largest taller than you are. Their surfaces are covered in fine raised patterns, halls and studs, and interlocking clouds. Every bell hangs perfectly still. None of them are ringing. None of them have rung for a very long time. And yet the hall is not silent. It's not silent the way empty places are silent. It's silent the way a held breath is silent, the way deep water is silent. All the music these bells have ever made still lives somewhere inside them, folded up small, resting. You can feel it as you walk among the frames, a fullness in the air, a sweetness, like the moment after a beautiful chord has faded, held forever. The bells sleep, their music sleeps inside them. You walk between them slowly. Your footsteps make no echo. The bronze bells dream of songs in their green and ancient skins. At the center of the hall, one bell hangs alone, larger than all the others. On its side, worked in the bronze, is a single character. It's in a script so old that no living scholar could read it, but somehow, standing before it, you understand it anyway. Understanding comes to you gently, the way warmth comes, the way sleep comes. The character means rest. That is all. Rest. It was cast into the bell when the bell was made, in some morning of the world too early to imagine. It's hung here ever since, in the warm, dim heart of the mountain, saying its one word to the silence. Rest. You let the word settle into you. You feel it find its place. Somewhere behind your breastbone, somewhere below your slowing thoughts. Rest. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to be. The bell has been saying so for 10,000 years. The bell is right. You breathe in, you breathe out, you walk on. Beyond the hall of bells, a round doorway opens before you. It's a moon gate, pale stone framing darkness. Beyond it lies a courtyard. The night sky returns above you. The stars here are thicker than any you've ever seen. They crowd the darkness like blossoms crowd a spring branch, white and silver and faintly gold. Among them runs the silver river, the river of heaven. It flows from one edge of the sky to the other, without a sound. In the middle of the courtyard lies a pool. It is round, rimmed in white jade. Its water is so still. At first you take it for polished stone, a mirror. The whole sky rests upon it. The silver river crosses it. The stars float on it, thousands of them, without a single ripple. When you lean over the rim, you see your own face. It floats among the constellations, calm and dim, a quiet guest of the heavens. Then something moves in the deep of the pool. Slowly, without disturbing a single star, a fish rises. It is long and golden. Its scales are soft bright in the darkness. It glides beneath the reflected river of heaven. It swims as though among the stars themselves. Perhaps it is. Perhaps here, on this mountain, the pool and sky are simply two ends of the same water. The golden fish turns, unhurried, and sinks again into the dark. The stars close gently over the place where it was. You stay by the pool a while. There's no reason to move on. There's no reason to stay. There's only the mild pleasure of both, and you let yourself have it. The air is sweet with distant peach blossom. The jade rim of the pool is warm beneath your hands. Far off, the keen sounds its long low note. It waits. It sounds another. Above you, the stars do their slow work of shining. You think of the world below, briefly, softly, the sleeping villages, the dark rivers, the lamps going out one by one in ordinary houses. All of it is far beneath the clouds now. All of it is safe and quiet and resting, just as you are resting. The whole world is tucked beneath the same great blanket of night. The mountain holds you above it, warm in its palace of jade. You breathe in the blossom's sweet air. You breathe out. When you move on, you follow a covered walkway. It runs along the courtyard's edge. Its railings are carved in an endless pattern, interlinked clouds. Its ceiling is painted a deep midnight blue. Small gold stars are scattered across it. Even under the roof, you walk beneath the sky. The walkway turns and turns again. It brings you to a gallery of screens. They stand in a long row down the center of a narrow hall. Tall folding screens of silk stretch on frames of dark wood. Each one is painted. You walk past them slowly. Each screen is a world. Here, a mountain landscape in ink. Peaks rise out of mist. A thread of waterfall flows down. A tiny hut sits on a crag. Its window glows. If you look closely, you can see a figure inside. It's no larger than a grain of rice. The figure sits by a brazier. It's utterly at peace. The painter gave the figure a cup of tea. The tea has been warm for 1,000 years. Here, a lake in moonlight. It's painted in silver and grey. A single boat drifts on it. The boatman has shipped his oar. He's lain back to look at the moon. His hat is tipped over his eyes. He is sleeping. He's been sleeping gently in the silver paint since before your grandmother's grandmother was born. His boat has never drifted anywhere it should not go. Here, a snow scene. A village sits under white roofs. Smoke rises straight up from the chimneys. It rises into a windless painted sky. Every window glows amber with lamplight. Not one figure stands out of doors. Everyone in the painted village is inside. They're warm. They're asleep. You understand, walking down the row, that these aren't merely pictures. These are places the palace keeps. Quiet moments, gathered from the long history of the world. The way basins in the courtyard gather stars. 1,000 nights of peace, chosen and painted and preserved. Peace itself would always have somewhere to live. The sleeping boatman, the hermit with his everlasting tea, the village under snow, and now you, walking softly among them. You're one more quiet figure in the palace's endless collection of rest. The thought is a pleasant one. You carry it with you like a small warm stone. You pass the last of the screens, a painting of a peach orchard in bloom. It's so tender, it's so full of pale pink light. You stop before it and simply look. The scent in the air seems to grow sweeter as you stand there. The painting and the real garden seem to breathe together. The real garden is somewhere ahead. Not yet. Soon. There is no hurry. You walk on. The gallery of screens gives way to a hall of scrolls. Shelves rise around you. Dark wood, honey-colored in the pearl light. They climb so high that ladders of carved cinnabar lean against them. Every shelf is filled with scrolls, thousands upon thousands of them, each one wrapped in silk, each one tied with a cord of a different color, each one labeled with a small ivory tag that turns gently now and then, though there is no breeze to turn it. The air here smells of paper and ink and time. It is the smell of every library there has ever been, but older and softer and warmed by jade. These are the records of the mountain. Some say every life is written here. Some say every dream. You do not need to know which. It is enough to walk down the long aisles between the shelves, feel the hush of so much patient writing, so many stories resting in their silk, none of them needing to be read tonight, all of them content simply to be kept. At a low table near the center of the hall, a scribe is sleeping. He is old, in the way immortals are old, ageless, with a long white beard, a face as smooth as a boy's. His brush lies across its jade rest. His inkstone has been covered with a small lid of carved lacquer. The ink will not dry. His head is bowed over his folded arms. His breathing is deep and slow. On the table before him, an unfinished scroll waits without impatience for morning. Whatever he was writing can wait. Everything here can wait. Waiting on Kunlun is not a burden. It is a kind of rest. The scroll rests. The scribe rests. The whole vast library rests around them. You pass the sleeping scribe on soft feet. You know you could not wake him. Nothing wakes anyone here before they're ready to wake. Still, you go gently. It is a gentle place. Gentleness is simply what one does here, the way water flows downhill. At the far end of the hall, another moon gate opens onto the night. Through its round frame, you see a small pavilion standing in a garden of white gravel. In the pavilion, a lamp is lit. Steam is rising from a teapot. You cross the gravel garden slowly. The gravel's been raked into long parallel waves, circle within circle, around islands of dark stone. Your feet find a path of flat stepping stones. Nothing is disturbed. The raked lines flow around the stones like water, water flowing around mountains. The whole garden is a sea at perfect rest, a storm that decided, long ago, to become a pattern instead. The pavilion is small and open on all sides, its roof upswept at the corners. A single pearl lantern hangs from its center beam. Beneath the lantern stands a low table of dark wood. On the table, a teapot of celadon, the color of a river under mist, and a single cup, already set out for you. There's no one here, and yet the tea is freshly made. The steam rises from the pot's spout in a slow silver thread, straight up into the still air. The palace knew you were coming. The palace has known all evening. Every door has stood open for you. Every lantern has been lit for you, and now the tea has been made for you. The cup is waiting. You sit on the cushion beside the table. It's thick silk, warm as everything here is warm. You pour. The tea is pale gold. Its fragrance rises to meet you. Chrysanthemum and something else, something high and clean, like the air of mountain pines, like the first cool breath of autumn made kind. They say the immortals drink a tea brewed from clouds. Perhaps this is it. Perhaps clouds, steeped long enough in patience, taste exactly like this. You hold the cup in both hands, feel its warmth soak into your palms, into your fingers, up your wrists. You drink. The warmth goes down into you slowly and spreads, out from your center to your shoulders, your arms, your legs, all the way to your feet. A tide of mild gold moving through you. Everywhere it goes, it loosens something. Small knots you did not know you carried. Little held tensions, old as the day. Older, one by one, without effort they let go. Your shoulders settle. Your hands grow heavy and content around the warm cup. Your breathing, already slow, grows slower still, deeper, easier, as though the tea were teaching your body an older way of breathing, the way the mountain breathes, the way the night breathes. You sit in the small pavilion for a long, unmeasured time. The pearl lantern glows above you. The raked sea of gravel lies silver gray all around. Its patient waves hold still. Far off, the kin sounds a note. It lets it die, it sounds another. Somewhere beyond the garden walls, the scent of peach blossom drifts and gathers and drifts again, sweeter now, closer now, like a tide slowly coming in. You finish the tea. You set the cup down softly on the dark wood. When you rise, you find that you're lighter. Not light in a way that unsteadies you. Light in the way a burden set down makes you light. You'd been carrying the day and the year. You didn't know their weight until this moment. You find them gone now, left behind somewhere in the warm gold of the tea. The palace has taken them from you as easily as a host takes a traveler's coat at the door. You step down from the pavilion onto the stepping stones. The night receives you. Beyond the gravel garden, the path becomes a walkway of white stone. The walkway becomes a bridge. The bridge arches high and slender over a stream. But when you reach its crest and look down, you see something different. It is not water flowing beneath you. It is cloud. A river of cloud runs through the palace grounds, soft and white and slow, moving with the unhurried certainty of all deep things. Its surface curls into gentle billows. They rise and fold and sink again without a sound. Moonlight lies upon it. Pearl light from the palace lanterns lies upon it. It flows beneath the bridge and away between banks of dark stone. It winds through the gardens like a ribbon of sleep itself, loosed from some vast spool in the heart of the mountain. You rest your arms on the bridge's carved railing. You watch the cloud go by. There's no sound to it. There's only the slow white motion, endless, effortless. Watching it is like watching the breath of someone deeply asleep. The same rise, the same fall, the same peace that asks nothing of you except that you share it. You share it. Rise, fall, rise, fall. Your own breath finds the rhythm of the cloud river. It settles into it. For a while you and the river breathe together, one slow white breath after another, under the crowded stars. On the far side of the bridge, the character of the gardens changes. The stone and gravel give way to moss, deep and dense and impossibly soft, a green so dark in the night that it's almost the color of the sky. Your feet sink into it slightly with each step. It receives you the way a pillow receives a tired head. Low lanterns line the path now, stone lanterns no taller than your knee. Each has its small pearl glowing behind a carved window. Each casts a circle of moonlight-colored light onto the moss. Trees rise around you. At first you take them for pines. Some of them are ancient, unhurried pines with bark like dragon scales, needles of deep blue-green, their limbs grown into long horizontal sweeps, layer upon layer, like clouds that decided to become trees and never regretted it. But among them stand other trees. These are not like anything in the world below. Their trunks are jade. Living jade, pale green, translucent at the edges. The lantern light passes through it. It's warm to the touch. Everything of jade is warm here. Their branches bear leaves of thin white stone. They should be heavy. They are not. The leaves stir very slightly as you pass. There is no wind. They turn with a sound like the faintest chime, a sound at the very threshold of hearing, so soft that you're never quite sure. Did you hear it, or did you dream it? They say these trees were old. The mountain was young then. They say their roots go down through the whole body of Kunlun. They drink from springs of liquid moonlight, springs far below. You do not need to know if it's true. It is enough to walk beneath them, walk in their green glow, walk on the deep soft moss. Their stone leaves whisper their almost sound above you. Chime, silence, chime, like the chin, like your breathing. Everything on this mountain keeps the same slow time. The path of moss winds on through the jade trees. Ahead now, you see figures, two of them, walking together along a crossing path, some way off among the lanterns. They're dressed in long robes of white and palest blue. Their sleeves are so long, they nearly brush the moss. Their dark hair is dressed high. It's pinned with slender ornaments. They catch the pearl light, jade maidens, attendants of the palace, immortal and serene, going quietly about the small night duties of a place where nothing is ever urgent. One carries a lantern on a short pole, the other carries a shallow basket. The basket, you see it as they pass through light, is filled with peach blossoms, freshly gathered, palaced pink, heaped like a basket full of dawn. They do not hurry. No one here has ever hurried. They walk as the cloud river flows. As they pass the place where your path meets theirs, the one with the basket turns her head. She sees you. She smiles. It's a small smile, warm and unsurprised, the smile of a household welcoming an expected guest. She inclines her head, the barest bow. Then she lifts one blossom from the basket. She sets it gently on the flat top of the stone lantern, beside the path, for you plainly, a small gift left in passing. The two of them walk on into the trees. Their lantern light dwindles softly among the jade trunks until it's only one more mild glow. One more glow in a garden full of mild glows. You come to the lantern and pick up the blossom. It is cool and silken in your palm. 5 petals of the tenderest pink, deepening at the heart. Its scent is the scent you've been following all night. Honey and sunlight, something older, something that smells the way the word always would smell if words had sense. A blossom from the garden itself, from the orchard of the Queen Mother. The peaches of immortality ripen once in 3,000 years there. The trees do nothing but bloom and rest and bloom again. You are close now. You can feel it. The sweetness in the air is no longer a thread but a tide. The darkness ahead has a faint rose color to it, a blush in the night, as though dawn were pooled in one low place and had agreed to stay there. You hold the blossom loosely in your hand. You walk on. The moss gives way beneath your feet to a path of crushed white shell that glows faintly of itself. The shell path answers each step with the smallest sound, a whisper of white on white, like snow deciding to speak. The last jade trees fall away behind you, and there, opening before you, in the rose-colored dark, is the orchard. You stop at its edge. Some sights ask to be received slowly. This is one of them. The peach trees stand in long, gentle rows that curve away over low hills. They follow the shape of the land, the way water follows a valley. Each tree is in full bloom. Each tree is a soft cloud of pink, resting on a dark trunk. There are hundreds of them, thousands perhaps, hill after hill of blossoming trees fading into warm haze. The light here does not come from lanterns. The light comes from the blossoms themselves. Each flower holds a faint glow at its heart, the way a shell held to a candle holds the candle. One blossom alone would be nothing, a spark, a breath of brightness, but there are more blossoms here than stars over the sea. Together they fill the whole valley with that low rose radiance. A dawn that never rises, a dawn that is content simply to be. You breathe in. The sweetness is everywhere now. It is not heavy. It does not press on you. It is a sweetness like clear water, like the first taste of a ripe peach before the taste even reaches the tongue. The promise of it, cool and golden, held in the air. You breathe out. Somewhere far off among the trees, a single petal lets go of its branch and drifts down. You can't possibly have seen it. The distance is too great. The light is too soft, and yet you did. The orchard is that still. The night is that patient. You step in among the trees. The shell path continues, winding between the rows. Petals lie scattered along it, not many, only a few here and there, pale pink on glowing white. It's as though the path had been decorated by someone with a very light hand, someone with all the time in the world. The nearest tree leans its branches low over the path. You pass beneath them. For a moment, you're inside the blossom cloud itself. The light in here is tender and close. The flowers hang all around your head, thousands of them on this one tree alone, each one perfect, each one glowing faintly from its deep pink heart. You can hear the tree, almost. Not a sound, exactly. A presence, a great slow patience, the feeling of something that has stood in this place for longer than there have been words for standing. It spent all that time doing exactly this, blooming, resting, blooming again, 3,000 years between one fruit and the next. You let that number move through you, slow as honey. 3,000 years, empires below the mountain have risen and settled back into the earth in less time. Rivers have changed their beds, and through all of it, these trees have simply stood here, pearl light all around them, flowering, letting their petals fall, gathering their sweetness one quiet century at a time. There is no hurry in them, there's never been any hurry in them. And standing beneath the branches, breathing their breath, you feel your own hurry dissolve. Whatever small remainder you carried up the mountain, it dissolves like a grain of salt in a deep, still lake. You walk on, under tree after tree. The path rises gently over the first of the low hills. From the crest, you can see how the orchard lies in its valley like a rosy sea. The crowns of the trees round away in every direction, soft hill beyond soft hill, and above it all, the true night sky. Deep violet black, stars scattered thick and calm across it. The stars here are larger than the stars you know, or nearer, or simply less shy. They hang in their constellations like lamps, lamps in the windows of a vast and sleeping house. Their light comes down and mingles with the rose light rising from the blossoms. Where the two lights meet, at about the height of the treetops, the air itself seems to shimmer, silver into pink, pink into silver. You stand on the crest of the hill and watch it for a long, unhurried while. There's nowhere you need to be. The orchard knows you are here. The mountain knows you are here. Whatever is meant to find you tonight will find you, walking slowly, or standing still, or resting. It makes no difference. Nothing on Kunlun is ever missed by hurrying. Nothing on Kunlun hurries. Chime says something far behind you, in the jade garden you have left. The sound arrives small and silver across all that distance. Silence, chime, you smile, and walk down the far side of the hill into the sea of blossoms. Petals begin to fall. Not many, not a storm of them, just a few at a time, loosening from the high branches and drifting down through the glowing air, turning, pausing, resting on nothing, descending again, each one taking as long to fall as a petal could possibly take. One lands on your shoulder, light as a thought. One lands on the path before you and glows there, a small pink coal that gives no heat. One drifts past your face so slowly that you can see the fine veins in it, the deepening of color toward its base, the tiny tremble as the air lets it down, hand under hand, toward the ground. You watch the petals fall, your breathing falls with them, in as a petal lets go, out as it drifts down, in, out, slow as falling blossom. The orchard breathes this way, the mountain breathes this way, now you breathe this way too. The three breaths are one breath. It is enough. At the bottom of the valley, the path bends around the oldest tree you've yet seen. You know it's old, the way you know deep water is deep. Its trunk is broad and dark. It's twisted with the slow muscle of centuries. Its bark is furrowed, like a mountainside seen from very far away. Its branches spread wider than any roof. They're so laden with blossom that the light beneath the tree is doubled, a pool of rose brightness on the pale grass, warm to the eye like lamplight through silk. And at the base of the trunk, between two great roots that rise from the earth like the arms of a chair, someone has placed a cushion, a single round cushion of deep blue silk, embroidered with silver clouds, resting on the moss between the roots. It's as though it grew there. Beside it, on a flat stone, sits a small covered cup. It's glazed the green of a shallow sea, with a thread of steam rising from beneath its lid. It's for you. Of course it's for you. The maidens pass this way, with their lantern and their basket. The orchard has been expecting you all night. This is how a mountain of immortals says, sit, rest. You have walked far enough for now. You lower yourself onto the cushion, between the great roots. You lean your back against the trunk of the ancient tree. The bark is warmer than you expected. Not warm like fire, warm like a sleeping animal, warm like a south wall in late afternoon. The warmth comes through your robe and settles into your shoulders, which you hadn't noticed were holding anything. Let it all go. You lift the lid of the little cup. Steam rises, and with it a fragrance, tea, but tea grown in no earthly garden. There's peach blossom in it, and something like honey, and something like the smell of rain on warm stone. Beneath all of it, a quiet green depth, the taste of leaves that have known only mountain mist and moonlight. You hold the cup in both hands. Let the warmth soak into your palms. You are in no hurry to drink. The warmth of the cup is a pleasure of its own, and the steam rising past your face, and the weight of the cup, small and certain, in your hands. Above you, the great tree holds up its thousand blossoms. Now and then a petal comes loose. It spins down through the doubled light. It lands on the grass, or on the path, or once, softly, on the back of your hand. It rests there like a blessing. Then the next small movement of air carries it on. You take the first sip. The tea is exactly warm enough. It moves down through you like a slow ribbon of sunlight. Where it passes, everything unties, your throat, your chest, the small knot below the ribs where the day's last worries hide, all of it, warmed and loosened and smoothed away. You take another sip. You close your eyes. You listen to the orchard. With your eyes closed, the orchard becomes sound and scent and touch. You hear the almost silence of 10,000 trees standing still. It's not an empty silence, it's a full one, a silence with a grain to it, like the grain in fine wood. Beneath it, very faintly, you hear the petals landing. You wouldn't have believed a petal made any sound, but here, in this stillness, each one arrives on the grass with the smallest imaginable touch, softer than a fingertip on silk. There are enough of them, falling here and there across the valley. Together they make a kind of slow, scattered music. A rain of blossoms, too gentle to be cold rain. You hear water far off, a stream somewhere among the hills. It speaks to its stones in a low voice. It tells them the same story it's told them for 3,000 years. The stones never tire of it. The stream never tires of telling it. And beneath everything, so deep you feel it more than hear it, there's the mountain itself. The long, slow note of Kunlun, the hum of the pillar that holds up heaven, steady as the pulse of a giant asleep. It comes up through the roots of the great tree, through the cushion, into your body. Your own pulse listens. It slows to keep it company. You drink the last warm sip of the tea. You set the cup down on its stone. You lean your head back against the ancient bark, just for a while, just to rest your eyes. The tree holds you the way it holds its blossoms, lightly, completely, without effort. Petals drift down around you. The rose light lies on your closed eyelids like the memory of dawn. When you open your eyes again, you couldn't say how much time has passed. It doesn't matter. Time in the orchard is a courtesy, not a law. Something has changed though. The light down the valley has gathered itself. It's off to the left, where the land dips lowest. Through the peach tree trunks, you can see soft silver shining. It's broad and level. It lies along the bottom of the world, like a fallen piece of sky. Water, a lake, or a wide, still pool. You rise from the cushion, slowly, the way one rises from a good rest, savoring the unhurried unfolding of it. You bow your head once to the great old tree. It seems right to thank it. The tree lets fall a single petal past your face. That seems to be its way of answering. Then you follow the shell path down between the blossoming rows, toward the silver. The trees open. You come to the shore of the Jade Pool. You know its name the moment you see it. The way you've known everything on this mountain, not learning it, remembering it. The knowledge was waiting here for you, along with everything else. Yaochi, the turquoise pond, the Queen Mother's own water. It lies in its cradle of white stone, at the heart of the orchard, wide and still and perfect. The water is the color of the inside of a pearl, not white, not silver, not green, all of them at once. It shifts as softly as breath. It's absolutely still. Not one ripple crosses it. It holds the reflection of the stars so faithfully. The pool seems less like water, more like a second sky, laid down here in the valley, so that heaven could look at itself and be reassured. Around its rim runs a walkway of pale jade, smooth underfoot, cool through the soles of your shoes. Small pavilions stand here and there along the walkway. They're open on all sides. Their roofs curve like resting wings. Their pillars are carved with clouds and cranes and peaches. Lanterns of pierced silver hang from their eaves. They glow that same mild pearl glow. They double themselves in the still water below. And on the far side of the pool, far, far across the silver, rises the palace. You see it the way one sees a mountain range at dusk, as a shape made of light and distance. Terraces of white jade climb the slope beyond the water, roof above roof above roof. Each roof's tiled and glazed the color of kingfisher feathers. Each ridge is crowned with golden creatures, too far away to name. Towers with round moon windows glow amber. Long galleries hold lanterns in rows like strings of pearls. 9 stories, they say, 9 terraces of the Queen Mother's palace, rising toward the stars. Mist lies between the terraces like bolts of unrolled silk. The whole palace seems to float, tethered to the mountain only by its own reflection in the pool. It's the most serene thing you've ever seen. There's no fortress in it, no wall meant to keep anything out, no gate meant to be defended. It's a house, only a house. The oldest house in the world, perhaps, the calmest. Every line of it says the same thing the whole mountain's been saying all night. Nothing here needs to be feared. Nothing here needs to hurry. And you're welcome. You stand at the rim of the pool. You look at the palace across the water for a long time. You don't need to reach it tonight. Perhaps you'll walk that way slowly, along the jade shore. Perhaps you'll only look. On Kunlun, looking is also a way of arriving. You begin to walk the walkway. You keep the water on your right hand. The jade is smooth and cool beneath your steps. Your steps make almost no sound. The pool beside you holds its stars without trembling. Once, a fish rises somewhere far out. You hear the small silver kiss of it touching the surface, and one ring of ripples opens across the water. Wide and slow, the starlight bends gently around it. Then the pool smooths itself again. It remembers the sky as before. That's all the disturbance the Jade Pool allows itself in a night. One fish, one ring, stillness. You pass the first pavilion. Inside it, on a low table, a game of Weishi sits half-finished, black stones and white stones resting on their grid of golden lines. The players are elsewhere. Perhaps they went for a walk between moves, a walk that may last a season. What is a season to those who forever? The stones wait without impatience. The game will keep. Everything here keeps. You pass a stand of night-blooming flowers growing between the walkway and the water, broad white blossoms the size of open hands. They're tilted toward the stars, breathing out a perfume, like cool vanilla and rain. Moths the color of moonlight drift among them, unhurried even in flight, hovering, dipping, resting long on the petals, as though they too had come here to sleep. You walk on. The palace across the water turns slowly as you turn. It shows you its terraces one by one, its amber windows, its floating skirts of mist. Ahead, at the water's very edge, stand the cranes. 7 of them, white as first snow. They stand in the shallows on their slender dark legs. At first you take them for carvings. Their necks are curved in the shape of rest. Their eyes are half closed. One stands on a single leg. The other is folded up into the warm cloud of its body. Its head is turned back and tucked beneath its wing. It is fully, trustingly asleep there in the open night. Nothing on this mountain has ever given a crane reason to fear. You slow your steps as you approach, out of courtesy. But they do not startle. One of them, the nearest, crowned with cinnabar red, opens its dark eye. It considers you calmly, the way an old monk might consider a guest arriving at a temple where guests have always been welcome. Then it dips its head, once, low and graceful. A greeting, or a bow. You bow in return. It seems the only right answer. The crane closes its eye again. You pass among them along the walkway, close enough to see the fine white feathers stir in the mild air. Close enough to hear, you are certain you hear it, the small, deep, contented sound of a sleeping bird, a breath with the faintest voice in it, over and over, slow as the mountain's own pulse. Sleep comes easily here, even to cranes, even to travelers. It waits in the air like the scent of peaches. One has only to stop resisting it, but not yet, not quite yet. There is more gentleness ahead. You want to walk through a little more of it before you let the night fold you up. Beyond the cranes, the walkway curves out onto a bridge. The bridge is white jade, arched like the crescent moon. It spans a narrow arm of the pool. The water slips quietly toward the stream you heard from the orchard. Its railings are carved with peaches and clouds, their worn silk smooth by uncounted immortal hands. At its highest point, the bridge lifts you just high enough to see the whole pool at once, the silver water, the ring of lantern-lit pavilions, the blossoming hills rising all around, the palace floating in its mist, and above everything the deep violet sky and its great calm stars. You stop at the top of the bridge. You rest your hands on the cool stone rail. Below you, your own reflection looks up from the still water. It's robed in white, haloed faintly by rose and pearl light. It looks peaceful, that reflection. It looks like someone from whom every burden has been lifted, one at a time, so gently that they never notice the lifting. A petal comes down the air from the orchard. It sails past you over the rail. It lands on the water below. It rests there, a small pink boat. The almost imperceptible current takes it. It begins its long, slow voyage across the pool toward the palace. It turns a little as it goes, in no hurry. It needs no oar. It arrives whenever it arrives. You watch it go until it is only a fleck of dawn on the silver. Then you breathe in the cool air off the water. You breathe it out again. You walk down the far slope of the bridge. On the other side, the path forks. A lantern stands at the fork. Beneath the lantern sits an old man, fishing. He sits on a flat stone at the water's edge. A bamboo pole rests loose in his hands. A wide-brimmed hat of woven rushes is pushed back from his forehead. His beard is white as cranes. It flows down over his plain brown robe. His line hangs down into the pearl-colored water, perfectly slack. There is no hook on the line. You can see that plainly. The line simply ends a few inches above the surface. It touches nothing. He is not fishing for fish. He looks up as you come near. His face folds into a smile of such uncomplicated kindness. You feel it in your chest, like a sip of warm tea. His eyes are dark and bright and amused, very, very old. Old the way the jade trees are old the way the mountain's hum is old. "Sit a while," he says. His voice is soft gravel and warm smoke. The pool is generous tonight. There's a second flat stone beside his. It's as though it had always been there, as though it had been waiting since before you were born. You sit. The stone is smooth and holds a mild warmth, like everything on this mountain that offers itself to travelers. For a long time, neither of you says anything. That, you understand, is the point. The old man watches his hookless line. You watch the water. The lantern above you hums its tiny hum of light. Far across the pool, a petal boat or two drifts palaceward on the invisible current. It is the most restful company you've ever kept. "Do you know," the old man says at last, not looking up, "how long I've fished this pool?" You shake your head. "Neither do I." He chuckles, a low, comfortable sound, like a kettle deciding not to boil after all. "I stopped counting when counting stopped mattering. That's the trick of this place, you know. Not living forever. Anyone can live forever. It's only a matter of not stopping. No, the trick is what these trees know. He tips his white head back toward the orchard, toward the hills of glowing blossom. 3,000 years to make a peach. Not one of those years wasted, not one of them hurried. Every year, exactly as long as it needs to be. He lets the words sit on the water a while. People below the mountain, he says, spend their whole lives trying to make peaches in a season. They wear themselves through like old sandals. And the whole time, the sweetness was never in the finishing. He lifts his line an inch. He lets it fall slack again, hookless, catching nothing, wanting nothing. The sweetness was in the blooming, in the resting, in the standing still through the long, quiet centuries with your roots in the moonlight. He turns his bright old eyes to you. You're doing it now, he says gently. This walking, this breathing, this sitting by the water in the middle of the night with an old fool and his empty line. This is the peach, friend. You are inside the 3,000 years. There is nowhere else to get to. And he smiles again. He turns back to the pool. He says nothing more because nothing more needs saying. You sit with him a while longer. The silence is good. The lantern hums. The water holds its stars. Somewhere behind you in the orchard, petals go on falling. Each one takes its own sweet forever. Your breathing has become so slow and deep. You can no longer tell where the mountain's pulse ends and yours begins. You suspect the distinction was never as firm as you once believed. At last the old man tilts his head. He's listening to something you cannot yet hear. Ah, he says softly. There, she's playing again. The one in the pavilion on the western terrace. You'll want to hear that from closer. Take the left-hand path. It climbs a little, but slowly, the way everything climbs here. Follow the music. You can't lose it. Music like that doesn't allow itself to be lost. You rise from the warm stone and bow to him. He waves the bow away with a flap of his sleeve, grinning. He settles his hat and returns to his fishing, to his catching of nothing, to his perfect employment. You take the left-hand path. The path climbs away from the pool in long, shallow curves. It's stitched with flat white stones, bordered by dwarf pines whose needles glimmer as though dusted with the finest silver. And now, faintly, you hear what the old man heard. The kin, the same instrument whose single note first drifted to you long ago, at the beginning of this night, at the foot of the mountain. But now it is not a single note. Now it is a melody, slow, spare, spacious. Each tone is plucked and then given all the time it wants to bloom and fade. The way the trees give their petals all the time they want to fall. The melody comes down the path to meet you, like a stream flowing the wrong way, uphill toward your ears, and you walk up into it, note by note. It is music with no destination. It does not build toward anything. It does not resolve. It was never intention. Each note simply arrives and shines and dims and makes room for the next. The way one slow breath makes room for another. You climb, and the climbing is easy. The path does the work for you. Each white stone seems placed exactly where your foot wishes to fall, as though someone measured your stride 1,000 years ago, and set the stones out patiently, and then waited. The air grows sweeter as you rise, peach blossom and pine, and something cooler beneath both, the clean mineral breath of high places, of stone that has been drinking moonlight since before there were names for things. You are not tired from the climb, but you're tired in the other way, the good way, the way a lantern is tired at the end of its oil, glowing softer and softer, in no hurry to go out. The pavilion appears between the pines, the way the moon appears between clouds, gradually, and then all at once, and without any surprise at all. It stands on the western terrace, open on all sides. Its roof curves like a bird settling its wings. 6 slender pillars of dark lacquered wood hold it up. Pale silk hangs between them, stirring in a wind so gentle you cannot feel it on your skin, only see it moving through the silk like slow water. And there, on a low platform in the center, sits the musician. She is old, older, perhaps, than the fisherman by the pool. Age here seems less like a burden and more like a polish. River stones grow smoother the longer they're held by the current. Her white hair is gathered loosely with a single pin of jade. Her sleeves pool around her like folded clouds. Her eyes are closed. Before her lies the kin, long and dark and gleaming. 7 silk strings catch the lantern light in thin silver lines. She does not look up as you approach. She doesn't need to. Her hand simply lifts, drifts, and settles on a string. The note that blooms out of the instrument seems to say, in a language older than words, "Yes, come in, you're expected, you've always been expected." You step up into the pavilion. The floor is smooth wood, warm somehow, warmer than the night. Along one side, someone has laid out a low couch, a wide wooden frame, a woven mat, a folded quilt the color of dusk. It faces the open western side of the pavilion. The mountain falls away in soft blue terraces, ridge behind ridge behind ridge, each one paler than the last. The farthest ridges are indistinguishable from the sky. The couch was laid out for you. You understand this the way you've understood everything tonight, quietly, without needing to ask. The old woman plays on, eyes closed. Her hands move over the strings, the way petals move through air, slowly, certainly, without a single wasted motion. You sit down on the couch. The mat receives you. The quilt, when you draw it over your legs, is heavier than it looked, and softer. It's filled with something like silk floss, holding warmth the way the pool below held its stars, and you listen. The music has no edges. Each note is plucked and then left alone. It's allowed to travel outward through the night air, over the terraces, down the mountain, out across the sleeping world. In the long spaces between the notes, you can hear everything else. The hush of wind in the pines, the far small voice of water, a single petal touching the pavilion floor with a sound almost too soft to be a sound at all. The old woman is not playing over the silence, she's playing with it. The silence is the other instrument. The silence is doing half the work. Note and silence, note and silence. Your breathing finds the rhythm without being asked. In with the note, out into the long silver space that follows, in and out. There's nowhere else to get to. You let yourself lean back against the cushions. From here, lying half-propped, you can see the whole western sky. The moon has traveled far in its slow arc. It hangs now above the farthest ridge, enormous and gentle. Its light lies across the mountains like a hand laid on a sleeping child. Below the pavilion, the peach orchards go on with their patient falling. You cannot see individual petals from this height. You see only soft pale, drifting between the dark shapes of trees. It's like the memory of snow. It's like the mountain breathing out slowly and letting a little of its dream escape into the air. 3,000 years to make a peach. You think of the old fisherman by the pool. He's catching nothing, he's wanting nothing, he's perfectly employed. You think of his hookless line lying slack on the water. You think of how he smiled at you. He said, "You are inside the 3,000 years. You are inside them now. You can feel them around you, all those slow centuries. They're stacked as gently as folded quilts, and not one of them wasted, and not one of them hurried." The old woman's melody changes so gradually that you cannot say when. The notes grow lower now, deeper, farther apart. The earlier music was petals falling. This music is roots, slow and dark and certain. They go down and down into the warm stone of the mountain. They hold everything in place without ever gripping, without ever straining. Your eyes have grown heavy. You let them close halfway. Through your lashes, the lantern light becomes a soft gold blur. The moonlight becomes a soft silver blur. Gold and silver, warm and cool, note and silence, breath in and breath out. The whole night has resolved itself into these gentle pairs. They rock slowly back and forth, the way a boat rocks at its mooring when the water is calm, when there's nowhere it needs to go. You pull the quilt higher, up over your chest. The weight of it is wonderful. It presses you softly into the couch, the way sleep presses a child into a parent's shoulder. Somewhere in the long spaces between the notes, the old woman begins to hum. It's barely a hum at all, a thread of sound, low and wordless, woven under the strings. Perhaps she's not even aware she's doing it. Perhaps she's hummed this way for 1,000 years. She's been playing to travelers who climbed the left-hand path. They lay down under the dust-colored quilt. They let the mountain take their weight. You would not be the first. The couch has the settled feel of a thing that's been slept on by many tired wanderers. Each one arrived with their small burdens. Each one left lighter, or perhaps not leaving at all, in any way that matters. Perhaps a little of each of them stayed. They're folded into the warmth of the quilt. They're added to the softness of the mat. Everyone who rests here rests on the accumulated rest of centuries. You're lying on 3,000 years of sleep. The thought does not startle you. Nothing could startle you now. The thought simply settles over you like one more quilt, and you sink a little deeper. Your eyes close the rest of the way. The pavilion does not disappear. It only softens. You can still hear it all. The chin, the humming, the wind in the pines, the petals, the water far below. But the sounds have loosened from their sources. They no longer come from anywhere. They simply are, hanging in the darkness behind your eyelids like lanterns hung in mist. Your body has grown very heavy and very warm and very far away. Your feet carried you all the way up the mountain. They went from the stone gate at the bottom, through the bamboo, past the terraced pools, through the orchard of falling blossom. Your feet are done now. They're grateful and done. You feel them release, one small muscle at a time, like knots untying themselves in slow water. Your legs release. Your hands, resting on the quilt, release. Your shoulders have carried so much for so long. They've carried weight in this world and the other one. Your shoulders release now, and it's like setting down 2 full buckets at the end of a long road and straightening up and finding the evening cool and the door of home standing open. The music grows quieter, not ending. Music like this does not end. It only moves farther away, or you move farther away from it, drifting downstream from the pavilion on a slow dark current. The old woman plays on for the next traveler, and the next, patient as the trees. A note, a long silver silence. A note, softer, a longer silence. Somewhere in one of those silences, the boundary between listening and dreaming quietly gives way. It gives way the way a petal gives way from its branch. No tearing, no falling even. Just a letting go so gentle that the petal itself may not notice. It may not notice for a while that it is no longer attached to anything, that it is simply drifting now, weightless, carried, held. You are the petal. You are drifting now. You are held. The moon slides at last behind the farthest ridge. Its light does not vanish. It only lowers itself, dims itself, the way the fisherman's lantern dimmed. It's folding its brightness away for the night, keeping just enough glow to gild the edges of things. The terraces go blue, then deep blue, then the soft charcoal color of sleep itself. In the orchard below, the trees stand quiet in the dark. Their roots are in the warm stone. Their blossoms are closed or falling or already fallen, all of it unhurried, all of it exactly on time. The pool holds the last few stars. The old fisherman, if he's still there, is only a shape now, a hat and a sleeve and a line that catches nothing, at peace with the water in the night. And high on the western terrace, in the pavilion with the silk walls breathing slowly in and out, an old woman plays a melody with no destination, softer and softer, to a traveler who no longer hears it as music, only as warmth, only as depth, only as the sound the world makes when it is safe. You are almost asleep now. Perhaps you're already asleep. This voice is only the last thread. It's unspooling gently behind you as you go. That is all right. You do not need to hold on to any of it, not the mountain, not the orchard, not the old man's words, not the music. They were never things to be held. They were things to be walked through, once, slowly, on a warm spring night, and then released, the way trees release their petals, trusting the air to know what to do with them. The air knows what to do with you now. Let it carry you. There is nothing left undone. The path is finished. The tea has been drunk. The words have been said. The music has been heard. Every stone was in its place. You stepped on every one. Now the last stone is behind you. There is only the soft dark, wide and kind, opening like a quilt turned back on a bed that's been waiting all day. Breathe in, slowly, and let it go. Breathe in, slower still, and let it all go. The mountain holds you. It's held wanderers for 3,000 years. It's never once let one fall. Its patience is beneath you like stone. Its gentleness is over you like blossom. You're inside the long, unhurried centuries. Every one of them is exactly as long as it needs to be. Not one of them asks anything of you tonight. The last note of the chin dissolves into the dark. It does not come again. The silence that follows is not an absence. It is the fullest thing on the mountain. It is the rest inside the music, grown so wide it has room for the whole night, room for the trees and the water, the old man and the old woman, the moon behind the ridge and you, especially you, small and warm and heavy under the dust-colored quilt. Breathing more and more slowly, sinking more and more softly, down through the warmth, down through the quiet, down into the deep, dark, velvet stillness where the mountain keeps its dreams. The lantern goes out. The dark is soft. The dark is warm. Sleep now. Rest.